I'm Dr. Eboni January, a young woman who grew up in East St. Louis, just across the river from St. Louis, where I now practice medicine as an OBGYN. Grew up with modest beginnings, humble beginnings with a strong family background, family who really pushed me to be the best me that I could be despite, adversity.
I'm here as Anthony Perry to lead our children to have a bright future, because this is about relationships.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eboni January. I'm a board-certified physician and surgeon. I'm here this morning with Mr. Anthony Perry, who is running for Senate in the state of California. Hey there.
Good. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for having me today. I am Anthony Perry, your candidate for California State Senator, right here in District 35. And we're here to prevent homelessness. We're going to get it down. Working with tenant and landlords. We're going to provide jobs for all. Most importantly, addressing our healthcare crisis. And today, we want to work with doctors like you to help provide assistance and help train up new and young doctors and coach them, to provide more better doctors for the future. And we thank you for your services that you provide. And I'm honored to be here with you today.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Anthony, I've been working in the community for over 6 years now. I've been doing health coaching, just based off of different disparities that I've seen in the African-American population. So I develop a text weight loss coaching program, and I go and I speak and coach people, and specifically women, on the importance of health, preventative medicine, comprehensive medicine as well, and also success coaching. So I'm very grateful to have you here to talk a little bit more about how you'll be able to implement strategies so that women are successful in businesses and that our communities are healthy from a comprehensive standpoint. So I do appreciate you. So I'm happy to discuss these issues with you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me.
So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is women in business. What are your plans to help and assist women to run successful businesses?
Yes, absolutely. One of my plans that I do propose is helping women in business. That one thing in our district, we have a lot of job placement. However, we don't have a lot of programs for women to be entrepreneurs, independent business owners. So one thing I propose is creating programs that will help women get back to work, and also women that need help in starting businesses. And two things that I've come up with is, I understand that starting a business is very hard in general. It's even extra hard for a woman. It's a study that 80% of new businesses that are started by women are over the age of 40. And that's because some women in business, may have a family, taking care of kids, still going through school, things of that nature. And so it's hard. So one thing I do propose is a $5,000 credit for a new business being started by a woman. And that is because the business ownership is only 25% for our small businesses in our district. We must give women the opportunity to be able to have a $5,000 credit to cover, any expenses that may the business come up, fees that may come up. We understand that majority of businesses that get started, we tend to spend majority of our savings, our bank accounts, and loans. So it's important that we give that incentive to want to start a business, and they know they have that extra $5,000 to give them a little boost, a little bit of a head start. And second, I like to propose a not a healthcare, but a child care credit for those women starting a new business that have children. And that's very important, because the first thing that I talked about, majority of women that started business over 40, they started over 40 because they had to wait until their child was of age, or till they were at an age to where they could, they didn't need as much supervision, if that is correct. a child care credit, it allows that woman to be able to put their child in a child care. So while they're starting their business, that's one less worry that they have to worry about. So in conjunction together, the $5,000 credit and also the child care credit for the first year, to help give the woman that jump start that she will need to become a small business owner, entrepreneur, to eventually grow to a Fortune 500 company, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, I think that that's very important, obviously, being a physician and also an entrepreneur where, I do things with real estate, med spa, things of that nature. One of the things that I have seen that has been very difficult, not necessarily just because of money, but more so having a coach. So, I'm huge on coaching, health coaching, success coaching, especially with my book, Educational Athlete, Why Every Successful Student Needs a Coach. And that spans any type of discipline, and that's business as well. So I think that it's very important that we also not just have funding, but once you get the funding, then what? Who's there to actually lead the way? And that's, what we've seen is that there's certain male-dominated businesses where they've had coaches, they've had people that kind of, do some hand holding and show them the way. With regards to women, however, it's been some difficulty with regards to finding someone to coach us, to show us the way, to introduce us to the tools and resources that are necessary. Do you have any plans in place outside of funding that can help women own businesses to be successful?
Yes, absolutely. One thing also that's incorporated within this program is also in connecting women that's already in business and women that are already working in business. Not necessarily has to be their own company, but almost like an internship, to where, let's say a woman wants to start a grocery store. That's great. We're going to start that grocery store, but before she starts that grocery store, we're going to give her opportunity to maybe internship with a current grocery store owner that's a woman, or someone that's close in their field, to kind of help them avoid some of the pitfalls. Because we know when you start a new business, like you said, we need that extra hand holding, because that first year is going to be very crucial in that business to the success of it long term. So yes, an internship style was something that I would propose for the women that are starting new businesses before and during they start their business in the very beginning.
Okay. And the other thing, so obviously coaching, I think, is very important, right? With regards to even success coaching and me coaching youth, one of the things that I do is I give them tips, I give them pointers, instructions on the things that I wish I had known, and things that I encourage them to do. However, the other thing that I have found beneficial is making sure that you connect them with the right resources. Do you have any plans in place? Obviously a coach is a great resource, but then you talk about things like, website marketing, those things that really, really help a business run in order to be successful. Do you have a plan in place to actually connect women with the right resources?
Yes, and that all encompassed in with providing women with not just a $5,000 credit, not just with their child care credit, but it's also important that the marketing aspect of it. We must ensure that we can have any services or any program in the world. However, if no one knows about it, it's not available to anyone, it wasn't due that woman any justice. So it's important that we market through social media, not just through social media, but also through print, also through email, also through our internship programs. It's very important that we have different avenues, is because it's the information. We must have the information flow. Once the business is started, that's why we're going to have those internship programs to help avoid the pitfalls. And so we're going to talk about accounting. We're going to talk about, hiring. We're going to talk about, providing health care for small businesses. We're going to talk about workers' compensation. All of those in there is almost like a mini tutorial of starting your business, because no matter if you open up a grocery store, whether you open up a clothing store, or you want to provide services in technology for cell phones. It's certain business aspects that majority of all businesses, have to go through. It's very important that they can balance their checkbook, their bank book, managing employees, making sure we're following all OSHA laws and things of that nature. So yes, it's very important that we encompass tutorials, to give them insight of business arena, regardless of which sector of business that she decides to enter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very important, essentially, to be like a one-stop shop. Very, very, very important that, not just providing financial resources, but also providing someone who can show you the way and what a business actually entails. Like you said, accounting, I think that's huge. And how to hire, very important. I've recently had a conversation with someone that I was coaching from a business standpoint. And I said, the first thing that you want to do when you start a business, obviously a business should fix a problem, right? And whatever your business is doing, it should fix that problem, to a great degree. You should obviously provide a great service to whoever, you're servicing. But however, when you decide that you want to start a business and to fix a problem, the next thing that you need to do is to find a team. A team is so important. And so providing, women with those resources from a financial standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, I think that's instrumental. It's one thing to support, but I think that it's important for you to be very intentional in your support. Not just to say, hey, we're supporting women, but really, really make them successful, not just encourage them, but more so to support them and guide them in the right resources like anybody would do. So I think that's very important.
No, absolutely.
So I wanted to move forward a little bit. Obviously, I'm an OBGYN. I do health coaching, but what's important to me is the community with regards to health. I've worked in St. Louis in a low-income area for the past 6 years now. So I've kind of seen, the inner workings in regards to healthcare, some of the disparities that there are. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what you're going to do in order to really help with those disparities in District 35?
Yes. There's about 140 healthcare clinics. There's about a total about 250 healthcare clinics, ERs, urgent cares, hospitals, things of that nature. However, when it comes to the community clinics, one thing that I've noticed is that many of the clinics, especially in our urban communities, don't offer a lot of extensive services. And what I mean by that is, majority of these community clinics, you can go, get checked, get your blood pressure, get your blood work, things of that nature. However, if doctors find something, they usually send you out to another facility that requires setting an appointment, making sure your insurance, you can go there and then go there. One thing that I would like to incorporate is bringing more health prevention services into our communities. One thing I really, really want to drive home, I know we always heard this, and I know you're a doctor, you hear this all the time, but we must, tell people, we must show people, we must know people in their hearts that health is the new wealth. And we must allow our constituents to understand how important it is to take care of their health. And I truly believe that early prevention and early detection will eliminate many of our future problems. So it's very important that we go deeper into prevention services. I'm very, very big on prevention and early detection. So if a doctor, finds something, you may have high blood sugar, or you may have a cancer or something, I mean, God forbid, once we can get that early prevention, that early detection, that will allow the constituents to be able to get the correct help they need at an appropriate time instead of waiting for the last minute. So I would increase, prevention services, in our healthcare clinics.
Okay, and how do you propose? Can you be a little bit more specific in how you want to increase that? throughout your district?
Yes. One thing I want to do is I want to increase, more healthcare clinics. My goal is to say, hey, 100 healthcare clinics. However, from a budget standpoint, going over the state budget, it's almost nearly impossible for me to build 100 health clinics just to be, from a financial standpoint as the budget is currently set. However, I propose utilizing resources that we already have. One area that I would like to tap into is intertwining and putting together and working with our parks and recreation by creating a healthcare division in our select parks and recreation centers. Many of these facilities have the correct square footage. Many of these facilities will allow a budget to incorporate the certain changes we need to implement, and we already have a building in place. So now if we can incorporate maybe, somewhere between 30 and I'm gonna say around the 30% range, maybe 20 to 40, but if we can incorporate, every 1 out of 3 of our rec centers into a health clinic, that will also provide more services and provide more coverage for more constituents in the district. So I would definitely utilize the resources that we have as we continue to build more community health clinics, because going inside the budget, I want to say I'm going to build 100 new health clinics, within the next 4 years as your next state senator. However, from a budget standpoint, it is very unlikely as currently constructed. Now, when we go into, creating more jobs and things like that, we get more revenue, we can revise that budget as it goes up. And that's another goal, outside of, the health and things like that. So yes.
Okay. Obviously, being a doctor working in a low-income health center for 6 years, one of the things that, even talking to my colleagues, one of the things that is difficult is that usually you're paid less than, in private facilities. So here you are, you're wanting to increase the number of health centers throughout the state. However, not just funding, but also being able to supply those centers with physicians, qualified staff, but also making it attractive for them to come there. Do you have any plans in place to recruit physicians, nurses, staff at all?
Yes. Competitive pay, college recruitment. One thing that we do notice, and I know you know this very well, the private sector tends to pay a much premium salary. That's across the board. So we have to level out the playing field. One, we need these college graduates. We want them to work in our state. We want them to work in our district. We want to give them incentives on why to work in our district. So we want to have these college grads say, hey, please, we want you to work for us. Work for us. You got these student loans. You got to pay these loans back. We want to work with those that work in our district to help give them opportunities to pay back their student loans. So now when you graduate, you got 50, 100,000 in debt. Now they know, hey, California, we're going to get paid a premium pay. And with the amount of service, we're going to help them with their payment towards their loans. And now a college graduate can relieve just a little bit more stress, knowing they got a competitive pay and we're helping with their loans, and not just graduating and saying, hey, I'm just going to work for the most, highest paid private employer. It's very important that we level out the playing field. It's important that we have competitive pays, especially with our minorities and our women. And that's in the business arena, that's one thing that I will be addressing. As you know, in general, across the board, women are underpaid more than men. That's not right. The field needs to be level for everyone, minorities and women, and also those with disabilities. And that's another thing I would like to also incorporate is I want to encourage those with disabilities that they are too guaranteed jobs. They are a protected class. And we also want to give corporations more incentives, especially with the EEOC credits, to hiring, more women and those with disabilities, because I've seen it in business. Women is one group that is being discriminated against. And then following right after that is those with disabilities. And that's wrong. We must allow everyone the opportunity to work. And once everyone is working, they must be treated correctly and paid correctly. Yeah. And we want to make sure there's no hostile work environments. And so that's one thing that I would propose.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's very important that you make sure that women and individuals with disabilities not just have equal pay, but also that they're incentivized in some type of way. Sometimes it's not even monetarily. For example, if you got single moms who are working for you, just, a fact of partnering with the daycare center and providing, that free of charge. Those are all things that are just as good as money, helping whoever it is that is working for you or in these health centers surviving or taking the load off so that they can go and they can be the best people that they can be at home and at work. So I think that's a great plan. But I'd like to thank you, for your input with regards to women in business, healthcare as well, because I think those are very great topics. Those are areas where most states struggle. So I do wish you the best of luck. If I'm able to help in any way, please let me know. But I think that, you got a good plan. And I think that's important. And you're hitting some key topics.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me today. I know you do so much for your constituents and do so much for the people. And I say this, passionately, we need more great doctors, and I personally want to thank you for your service, because I know you save hundreds and hundreds of lives.
Thank you.
And as we say, health is our new wealth.
Absolutely.
Doctors are the bank. So thank you for your service, and we appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for saving our communities.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for having this meeting with me. These two topics are very near and dear to me. One, business, and being able to break down the different barriers as it pertains to women being successful in business. Additionally, obviously, preventative medicine is something that I hold dear to my heart. Yes. It's something I've been coaching for almost 10 years now, the importance of prevention so that we don't get to the points where we are on medication and fighting things like COVID. Most of the people who are dying from it have different underlying conditions and sometimes they're preventable. So I think this is very important, your plight, being able to move the barriers out of place so that women can be leaders in business, and not just successful, but leaders. And also making sure that we have qualified physicians in place to run these health centers that you plan to put in the state of California. So I really do appreciate you for talking with me on this morning. Do you mind telling our watchers where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me at www.anthonyperry.org. You can find everything about me and my campaign. You want to make a contribution, there's a link on there. You want to find out in details about everything that I propose, is all there. Most important, if you are not registered to vote, or if you moved, or if you changed your name, or you want to re-register your name or re-register to vote, click on the link at the website, register to vote. It is imperative that everyone get registered to vote, but you can find everything about me and my campaign at www.anthonyperry.org.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. And for our watchers and listeners, you can reach me at Dr. EJ at drej.com. That's doctor spelled out DOCTOREJ at DOCTOREJ.com. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Dr. EJ, for all that you do. And you are much appreciated and much needed.
You're welcome.
Thank you kindly.
You're welcome.